Hello, welcome to tonight's meeting. This is the April 2023 meeting of the CB3 Manhattan's Transportation, Public Safety, Sanitation, and Environment Committee. And we will start with roll call.
Okay, David, I'll start with Joshua Waterman, absent. Wendy Lee, absent. Lee Berman,
Present.
Kenyal Hernandez,
Present.
Michelle Coopersmith,
Present.
David Louie, absent. Richard Ropiak,
Present.
July Yang, absent. David Crane.
Present.
Okay,
And we actually have quorum too. Okay. We need to approve the previous month's minutes. It was the vote sheet. Were there any corrections? Then the minutes are approved. That's really formality, by the way, everybody. If there's a problem with the minutes, we need to know before the full board meeting. So anyway, there's that. We are going to go in order tonight on the agenda. So the first thing is DOT, Delancey Street Associates. They're going to be giving us an informational update on the plazas that are on the south side of Delancey between Norfolk and Clinton Street. This is near the entrance to the bridge. Anyway, I will just turn it over to them for the presentation this time.
Great, thanks, David. Ken, can you put the presentation up?
oh, who is it? Is it Ken? I should make a co-host?
Yes, please.
Okay, you should be able to share the screen.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Just introduce myself. I'm Matt Strombolin from Delancey Street Associates. We're the developer behind Essex Crossing, and we're here tonight to present the design for the interim plaza improvement on the two DOT plazas on the south side of the street of Delancey, stretching from Norfolk to Clinton. So, given the unknown timeline showing the start date for the city-led work on Delancey Street, we've opted to improve these plazas in the interim. And the intention really here is to deliver the community protected public space for as long as possible until the city work commences, but we just don't have a clear sense on when that exact date is going to be. Join with me is Jessica Kronstein from DOT and the design team for the plazas, Ken Smith Workshop and AKRF, who will advance the presentation. So Jessica, if you want to go next.
Sure, thanks. Jessica Kronstein, Deputy Director of the Public Space Unit. I oversee our design team. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ken.
Sure. So my firm, along with AKRF, have been working with the partners at Essex Crossing on the pedestrian plaza. We've initially have done designs for permanent plaza, but because of the planned road work on Delancey Street, we know that there's going to be several years of delay before a permanent plaza can be completed. And Essex Street partners have committed to providing a pedestrian plaza. So this proposal is for a temporary plaza that would be built this summer and would exist until the DDC has completed their street work and the permanent plaza could be created. We're looking at the two plazas between Norfolk and Clinton. And it's on the south side of Delancey Street. Currently, the site is just asphalt. There are double white lines that delineate the spaces from Delancey Street. And this is what we are proposing. We are not doing any permanent footings or anything that's permanent to the street. Everything will be put on the existing asphalt or placed on the asphalt. The design is, I think, fairly
Sorry.
straightforward. Sorry.
It may just be me, but is the presentation moving for everybody? I am still on the sort of landing page.
Oh, that's not good. Let me
Right.
see.
You're still on that as well.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
likewise.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I was
Okay. Now I'm having trouble advancing.
We got one more slide forward, so. keep
Is it
doing whatever you're
advancing
doing.
now?
It's showing anticipated project schedule. It jumped to that one. It hasn't gone further.
Let me try to escape it and can you see it now? And move this out of the way. Schedule, DOT slide. Can you? No.
It's anticipated project schedule. Have you gone full screen somewhere maybe and you're not actually showing the one? I don't know. That's something that happens to
Let
me
me
sometimes.
stop share and start over. Sorry about all this.
great.
Okay, you can see the public realm slide.
We
Yes.
can.
Okay,
And I might actually introduce us because I didn't realize that you were on the slides. I thought we were just sort of introducing ourselves. So if I mean, do you want to start? Can we
let's start
there?
back up with the timeline.
Great.
What we've been told is that the DDC will likely start their construction sometime in 2024. And it could last, construction could last as long as until 2030. We know on these major DDC projects, they are slow and there's oftentimes a lot of complications coming along the way. So we think that the temporary plaza could be in place for up to 6 years if things don't move very quickly. Jessica.
Thank you. Yeah. So as I mentioned, I'm the Deputy Director of the Public Space Unit. We see the public realm as a feedback loop. We manage a series of programs, all of which are partner-based. So everything starts with our community partners and our community partnerships. We also manage the Open Streets program, which is really sort of has opened the door to like many sites and many new partners across the city. The part of the unit that I manage is the more sort of physical intervention. So that's the street seats, shared streets, and plazas programs, apologies. And so those are where we work with our community partners, such as the whole team that I'm working with tonight. And then that leads to larger public realm planning. We reinforce all of our public realm planning as well as all of those sort of physical and permanent interventions with programming and maintenance. So what we're talking about tonight is a refresh of the Delancey plazas. They've been sort of out of commission for the past couple of years, and so refreshing them and in the interim materials so that then when the site is ready, as Ken is mentioning, they can be built out capitally. With that, I will hand it back to Ken.
Good, thanks. So again, these are the two plazas that we're talking about on the south side of Delancey between Norfolk and Clinton Streets. This is the configuration in red that exists today as delineated by the double white lines. It basically is in this zone along the south side of Delancey. And these are some the existing photographs. There is some residual tan painting from the previous version of temporary plaza here, but there's still a lot of just plain asphalt. And there are the double white lines that delineate the distinction between the street and the plaza. What we're proposing are a series of large planters that would line Delancey Street, quite large planters that would provide a very safe zone between the traffic and the pedestrians. Repainting the double white lines that delineate the plaza, and then creating a painted surface that uses two colors, a tan, which is very similar to the standard DOT pedestrian plaza color that everybody recognizes as a pedestrian plaza, but using a blue color also to give a particular distinction to this plaza and give it a real sense of place. There will also be some blocks for deterrence for vehicles where we don't have enough space for planters, and there will be movable tables and chairs. And so in plan, we're calling for, we'll be repainting the double white line stripes that delineate the plaza. There will be flexible traffic delineators installed along the double white lines. Those will be installed by the DOT. And we're using very large cattle water tanks for planters. These are similar to temporary planters that were used at the meatpacking district a decade ago. And these planters will have a distinctive blue stripe. And then there will be some supplemental blocks, barriers, where we need to fill in the spaces where we can't secure the boundary with planters. We're looking at two colors, a tan and a blue, and we're also using white stripes to separate the bands of blue and tan. And then we'll have movable tables and chairs. We are looking at a family of French type bistro chairs, although these are made in the United States, and they're a little heavier duty than the French ones, so they're a little more durable. And then our planters, because we don't have irrigation out here, will be planted with a prairie meadow mix. So it will be 30% prairie grasses and then 70% wildflowers. So it will have a durability and robustness that will look good and perform well. So that's really the plans. You can see the planters will have a blue stripe so that they're integrated into the general theme of the project. And they also have a wide reflective band along the top also, again, for visibility. We want to make the project as visible to the vehicles as possible and as safe as possible for the pedestrians. This is sort of a bird's eye view from Suffolk Street. So you can see the line of the large planters. These planters are a 10-foot diameter filled with, I think 30 inches of soil. So they're quite heavy. They're not going to move, but they are set on skids so that during construction, the DDC can, with forklifts, move them for operational purposes so that they don't have to destroy them. And a close-up version of what we think it will look like at the ground level. We think it will be a successful public space. Our intentions are that it's inviting and it's comfortable. It has good furnishings and it feels green, but you get a real sense of separation between you and the cars. Because right now, I have to say, having been out there, you don't feel safe from the traffic. And so we're trying to do everything we can to make sure that it is safe and feels safe and inviting. So that's our update. I'll turn it back to Matt.
Yeah, so that's the conclusion of our presentation. If there's any questions you want us to answer, Susan, or the board, we're here.
Let me ask if the board has clarifying questions. Are there any? I see there is a hand up.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Just out of curiosity, do you folks think that there will be sufficient light at night to preclude any problems with the traffic possibly veering toward the planters? Or have you considered the possibility of putting some kind of reflective tape around the planters to maybe highlight them slightly more?
Yes, so we do have good lighting from the existing sidewalks. So I think we have light within the plaza. There are street lights also, but in answer to your question, there are two things that will happen. There are the flexible traffic delineators that are located all along the edge, and they have reflective stripes on them. And then our planters will also have a 4-inch wide white reflective stripe all the way around the top. So we think the combination of those stripes around the planters and the delineators, plus the double white lines, which are also reflective, should make them visible. That's our intention.
Thank you.
Wendy,
Thank you for the presentation. And I missed this earlier, but did you guys have like a proposed timeline for like the plaza or not yet?
Yes, I think Essex Street Partners would, of course, ideally like to be building the permanent plaza, and that's their commitment. But we know that the DDC has scheduled road reconstruction, street reconstruction planned, and their current timeline calls for that street construction to start in 2024. We don't have any details on the
understood.
order
Thank you very
or
much.
how they're going to orchestrate that construction. But what they've told us is that the construction could last from 2024 to 2030. So the temporary plaza might very well be in place for 6 years before the permanent plaza can be put in place.
thank you. So what is that project? I don't think I've seen a presentation yet on some possible 6-year road construction on Delancey Street at the bridge. I mean, I could speculate, but I'm wondering, do you know any more about what that is?
Right. Tim, are you on the line? Can you answer that? Tim Lavin is our
Yeah,
project engineer.
My name is Tim Lavin. I'm with AKRF. I'm a civil engineer. And I know a little bit about that project. There is a bike lane reconstruction project on Delancey Street, and AKRF, not related to the Plaza project, is working on that project with the DDC. And there are, from what I understand, there are multiple projects that the DOT is trying to execute along that corridor. I don't have the details of any of the rest of them. But I know that the Delancey Street project is kind of bundled with what the DOT is doing and the DDC is doing in the area. So that's why the permanent plaza is waiting for a final curb line to be constructed in this location so that final and permanent plaza can be constructed in this area. So the rest of that work is, it's kind of in flux, but it's definitely been in the planning stages for a while with the DDC.
Yeah, I'm recalling something about a bike
Yes,
facility.
yeah, so sorry, just to cut in, it is a bike, it is a full street reconstruction. And so it includes bike infrastructure. It's been in, or I think it's out of design. So I'm sure it's been presented to you. I just don't know exactly.
It's been presented to us.
It has. I just couldn't recall, but great, thank you. Are there people from there is an attendee who would like to, could we promote Somer Amaro?
We can do allow to talk.
Okay.
Or
I think.
wait a second.
And DOT or Susan, do we need to send you a motion tonight, or would we just, if we have
No.
comment? Thank you.
This is informational.
Right. Informational, right? We don't do that.
Yeah, and just to add, this design is also in motion with the DOT Arts program too.
So you've been promoted?
Yes, I promoted him. He should be able to speak.
Okay, should I just go?
Yes.
So I had two quick questions. The first is just looking at the pictures of the sample planters, they look like they would be fairly small shrubs. And I'm just thinking of like the summertime when it's sweltering and people maybe don't want to sit out in the sun. So I'm wondering if you've considered larger trees maybe that can provide some shade. Like I imagine some of this metal furniture getting really hot in the summer. So I'm wondering if you've considered that. And then I have a second question I can ask after.
Sure, that's a good question. I think one of the big constraints we have here is that we don't have irrigation. And so the plantings that we're proposing are actually plantings that once established are fairly thrive. They can thrive with natural rainfall. But your concern about shade, I think, is well taken.
Okay. And then the other question I had is, I'm wondering if this plaza falls within a flood zone. I mean, I know it's some ways away from the coast, but if it is within a flood zone, if you've considered some kind of mechanism or infrastructure to capture storm as like a storage facility for storm overflows.
I'm not sure if it's in a flood zone. Matt, are your buildings in a flood zone? Do you know?
I'm not sure if this plaza is in the flood zone.
But
Yeah,
but
I don't
basically,
think the flood zone comes up this far. It's definitely along the coastline along the east river, but we're a little higher.
I think because it's a temporary plaza, we're basically, if you will, decorating the existing asphalt and placing objects on the existing asphalt. I think if we in other circumstances, you could start to incorporate rain gardens as a thing. We also have this issue here that the subway structure is just inches below the existing paving. So it's a very constrained site in terms of what we could actually do.
Okay, thank you.
Susan, could we allow Daniel Tanyao to speak?
Sure. He's promoted.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Thanks. My screen closed and it reopened again. Two questions. Just how quickly would this go in? Because it's like super dangerous, and all these improvements would be helpful very quickly. And then will there be street trees on the sidewalk portion of this? I understand why you can't put them even in planters temporarily without enough irrigation, but are there street trees in front of the building on the sidewalk?
There are not currently street trees. And again, the sidewalk is just over the top of the subway structure. So we don't have any soil depth like a normal sidewalk would have. And Matt, can you talk to the construction schedule for the temporary project?
Yeah, so ideally this would be a summer project. So we'd like to get going and improve this area as soon as possible. We've all walked by these plazas before. They're pretty bare, they're pretty barren. So we'd like to move on this. We think this is a real nice improvement.
Hey, it looks like our questions have petered out. If I don't see another one in a few seconds, thank you for the presentation. Look forward to getting it.
Thanks, everyone.
And the next agenda item. Okay. This is the DOT. We're not actually getting a presentation. I don't believe we are. These are about some loading zones. I was going to read something that I had written to sort of introduce it. Here we go. I think, one sec. Okay. DOT sent CB3 a letter, which is attached to the agenda item. It lists 4 locations where loading zones might be installed in our district. This is happening because of a new local law passed in 2021, which requires DOT to create 500 new loading zones citywide every year for 3 years, using a new data-driven process for determining where loading zones are necessary to enhance public safety and reduce traffic congestion. The letter we received did list 4 locations that DOT has determined would benefit from having some type of loading zone. That letter, as I said, is attached to the agenda item, and we'll cover those in a few minutes. However, since this letter says it's an update in progress, and this is a new DOT process and methodology, I'm going to ask DOT some clarifying questions before we dive in. So first, I'm unclear what type of loading zones will be proposed at these locations, or whether perhaps this is still a list in formation with more detailed proposals coming to CV3 from DOT in the future. So DOT, could you help clarify that? I don't believe that it said, there's a variety of loading zones that are possible.
Yep, and so just to clarify, David, these 4 locations are neighborhood loading zone locations.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question, I'm unclear about the scope of CB3 review. I know it's a new process and all. I assume that CB3 is able to send a resolution to DOT with any comments. I mean, if we have, we surely would. I guess, do you have any thoughts on how we can be productive with our time here tonight? Like, what do you expect us to be looking at?
I think if the board would want to send a resolution with any feedback, we're more than happy to take that back to the team and,
Okay.
address any issues or concerns.
All right, Susan?
Yeah, I would like to ask DOT for each loading zone to explain why they placed a zone in that location. And then I believe there's at least one near a fire hydrant, and I wonder if you had any specific information about that.
Yeah, of course. And also I do want to introduce my colleague, Kate. She's recently joined our office and is now the Lower Manhattan Borough Planner. Kate, I don't know if you want to speak to the 4 locations.
Yeah, sure. So the locations that were selected, DOT looks at to select loading zone sites, population density, land use, and pre-existing loading zones in there. They also look at whether or not it is on a street that has prone to double parking, is along a bike lane or a bus lane. Those are some of the factors that they take into account. And in regards to the fire hydrant, we're still waiting on feedback from our freight and mobility unit. They are the unit in DOT that selects them. So Susan, we provided that feedback that we heard from you and FDNY earlier today to them, asking for an explanation. As far as Jackie and I understand, it seems like the loading zones, the NLZs, which are going to be 40 feet, would not be encroaching on the space for the fire hydrant. But again, we're still waiting on that direct feedback from the unit.
Okay, could you give the information that you gave me earlier this afternoon where there are bike lanes and that kind of thing? How you put them?
Yeah. So I'm just going to list off the 4 locations that we sent with some of the things that they're near. And Susan, I also want to say we don't have the exact addresses yet. So it's going to be the cross streets. So the first one is the north side of Stanton Street between Bowery and Christie Street. That is along a bike lane, adjacent to a hydrant and close to an apartment building entrance. The second one is the west side of Suffolk Street between Rivington and Delancey. That one is along a bike lane as well, adjacent to a hydrant. On the opposite side of a street from a residential building. And the third one is the east side of Avenue B between East 6th Street and East 7th Street. That will be replacing an abandoned open outdoor dining shed, also near a hydrant and adjacent to several large residential buildings. The final one is the south side of East 11th Street between 3rd Avenue and 4th Avenue. And that is also replacing an open restaurant at the beginning of the block. And adjacent to large residential buildings. And I also sent that to you in an email, but I can resend for the committee.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Lee, what do you have?
Hi, Kate and everybody. Thanks for presenting this. So my question is, have you yet, or will you, either as it gets closer or whatever time frame is required, put this out for public notification? For example, signs on those blocks, much like when we have a bus application. The bus operator is required to put a notice up. Do the residents of these affected areas, have they been notified and asked for public input about these specific 40 to 60 foot areas along the curb? Thank you.
I'm gonna defer to Jackie on this one because I'm
Yeah.
not certain if those signs are put up like you suggested.
And that's a great question. I believe this, I would have to get clarification from the team on this one, on what exactly the notification process is. So let me check in with them. I do know that once those NLZs get put in, they do put a sign up explaining how it works. But let me get clarification on notification prior to installation.
Right, specifically for asking for public input. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, Wendy.
Sorry, I raised my hand by accident. I was trying to do something else.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna then ask the Michelle. Go.
Thanks, David. I think I'll just reiterate the comment I made the last time that we had neighborhood loading zones announced, which is that we need more of them here. There is only, I don't even think there are any below Delancey Street. Once again, we have no neighborhood loading zones below Delancey Street in our district. We've said time and time again that the area around Essex Crossing is like pretty disastrous when it comes to delivery trucks. There is constantly an Amazon truck parked on the sidewalk on Norfolk Street between Grand Street and Broome Street, for example. Double park delivery vehicles constantly on Canal Street between Allen and Essex. This is not new information. This is in our district needs, and we need more of them. And I'd really request that DOT consider doing some below Delancey Street, because I'm almost positive that there are none below Delancey Street in our district. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we can definitely take that back to our team.
That would just reminds me, I do want to share the link. We do have a portal where the public or anyone can submit locations and
I've
DOT
done
will
that.
go out and review.
I did it. Yeah, I've done that before, but it would be great to share it. So nothing happened. I did it like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So.
Okay, Susan, could you promote Somewhere Omar again? Promote, allow to speak.
Sure. Okay,
Go ahead.
So this is just a quick comment, but I've seen these loading zones before, and when they're installed, I think it's just like that blue sign that you see on a nearby pole. I was just curious to know if there's any if you'd consider like painting it or something just to make it more visible, particularly because these are going to be so many of them and they're all going to be new, just as an extra element of like notice to people not to take up that space.
That is a good flag, and I can take that back to the team. I think as of now, it's just being signified with the signage, but happy to take that back.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that DOT doesn't paint any curb anywhere or anything.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do
Okay.
striping on the sidewalk on the I could be wrong, but I believe that that's the case. They'll put safety striping on the pavement sometimes, or different colors for a few things, but they generally try not to make stuff too busy. Are there other attendees who want to speak on any particular one? I thought there might be.
Lisa, I'll promote her.
Okay, here comes Lisa Kaplan in a minute.
I'm promoting her. Okay.
Lisa, you go.
I don't know what happened to her.
I see her here in the meeting.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I didn't realize. Thank you for promoting me. I'm just a little confused how this jives with a community open street that has blocks at the corner of 6th Street and Avenue B. How are trucks going to get through that? And doesn't that undercut the concept of an open street?
That's good feedback that we can definitely bring back to the freight team to make them aware of it. Jackie, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm just trying to double check. But yeah, that's a good flag for the freight team.
Susan, go ahead.
Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so
And the open street is 7 days a week.
I'm just making the comment in general. It
Okay.
wasn't-
Yeah.
I just wanted people to be aware because I didn't know that was true until I saw a sign in front of my building.
Okay, committee, is there anything that we want to formally send to DNP on this? So an interest, anything like that? Otherwise, we will move on to the next agenda item in a minute here. Not seeing any hands go up. Okay. Okay, thank you, DOT, and I'll go to the next agenda item now. We have a series of block parties. So I'm going to ask if any of the applicants are here for them. Let's do them in order. A birthday carnival, a block association. It's on Gouverneur Street. Is that applicant here?
Yeah,
Good raise your hand.
maybe we can ask him or her to raise their hand.
Yeah, if you raise your hand, we will promote you or to be able to speak. Not here?
Or write in the chat that you're here.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. You kind of have to do one or the other. So if you're on a phone, does someone know on a phone how you raise a hand? Is that even possible?
I don't know.
Okay, the Chinatown Night Market on Forsyth Street.
I'm trying to promote both Alice and Amy. Okay, I promoted Alice. And I promoted 2 people.
Yes.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, nice. Okay, let me just load up my presentation. May I have permission to share screen or do I already have that?
Sure. No, sorry, I'm looking for your name now. Okay, you should be able to now.
Share screen, okay.
Oof. We can see it. Is this going to be fairly brief? I think you are muted. I see you are.
Alice, you have to unmute.
Hi, can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It didn't let me unmute myself. All right. Yes, I will try to keep this presentation to be as short as possible. Hi, everyone. My name is Alice. I work for Think Chinatown. Today, I'm here to present our single block festival permit application for the community board in order to close down Forsyth Street for the Chinatown Night Market. Today's presentation is about June 2nd's Chinatown Night Market, but we already have tentative dates for all the following ones, including July 21st, August 11th, and September 8th. Unfortunately, those applications are still being processed, so I will come back another day to present the same presentation to you guys again. But before I get started, maybe a little bit about Think Chinatown. We're an intergenerational and hyperlocal arts and culture nonprofit based in New York City's Chinatown, whose work kind of centers around storytelling, neighborhood engagement, and business support. What I do at Think Chinatown is that I do business outreach, community outreach, and production. But aside from my work at Think Chinatown, I'm born and raised in Chinatown. I've lived here all my life, and I'm a second generation small business owner. My family owns a business on Grand Street. And so, yeah, with that, let's get into it. A little bit about Chinatown Night Market. Chinatown Night Market was created in partnership with Asian Americans for Equality. They're the co-host of this event. And it was through the Neighborhoods Now program, which brought together a bunch of pro bono technical support in order for us to do this community event. It was started 2 years ago during the pandemic because we wanted to create a community program that bolsters the local economy during a time of huge loss of foot traffic. And it was also created in order to provide a much needed safe space for our Asian American and Chinatown community during a time of a lot of intense violence and hate. Since then, though, Chinatown Night Market has grown and become a staple for summer activation for our public space in Chinatown, and it's well loved by our residents. This event is also supported by the New York City Department of Small Business Services, Department of Transportation, as well as our local City Council member, Chris Marte. So as you can see in the photos and as well as in our mission, the event brings a lot of foot traffic and businesses to Chinatown. And this means a lot because it happens during the weeknight, which is a time when Chinatown really lacks foot traffic, nighttime and on weekdays. In Chinatown, weekends is pretty poppin'. We get a lot of people coming in from neighboring suburbs, but during the weekdays, it's quite quiet. It also supports AAPI and Chinatown, mom and pop micro businesses, small businesses, as well as street vendors, and amplifies AAPI traditional arts through free performances that resonates with the neighborhood. We create a whole new set of performances every single time we do the night market. And during the, by gathering folks to come see our night market or to come attend our night market, we're able to even bolster the business and foot traffic for neighboring small businesses. So the businesses that are outside of our night market, because our attendees reported that most of them have visited local Chinatown establishments during their visits. This meaning businesses outside of the night market. As mentioned before, the night market was created to carve out a sense of safety for our community. When we created the night market, it was during a time of intense hate and violence against Asian Americans. And a lot of our neighbors felt like they were scared to come out at night, scared to keep their stores open at night for fear of violence and retaliation, getting mugged, getting robbed, getting jumped. And so by creating a space where people can gather, when people see people, it makes the space feel safer. It also enhances the overall sense of community safety. Again, in our intercept surveys that we conducted this past year, we found out that 90% of survey participants reported that they felt safe and welcome at the plaza during this event.
Alice, can I interrupt you? Appreciate the presentation, but we really probably don't need it. We've got a lot of agenda. We just need to know when and where, and will there be any street blockage? And
Yeah, that's fine.
we just want to ask you a few questions about, is everything coordinated?
Yeah, that's fine. Should I just skip ahead to the part where, should I just skip ahead to what it looked like last year and what we'll do this year?
That would be great.
Okay. It was 2 more slides. All right, so a quick orientation of Forsyth Plaza. We have the upper area, which is that triangle that you see on your upper right-hand side. But aside from that, Forsyth Plaza also includes the sidewalk that is below the staircase and the ramp area where there is a bustling veggie vendor market during the daytime. Last year, our night market had vendors on the upper level of the plaza, as well as the sidewalk stretching all the way to the corner of Division. However, as the night market has grown and become really popular, we've seen a lot of congestion, a lot of people shoulder to shoulder. And in order to keep the night market safe, we need more space to keep it comfortable, especially for our seniors who really like coming to our night market. Last year, we had around 600 attendees come per night at an estimate of 500 attendees on site at all times. And also, a lot of our vendors have expressed interest in coming back, as well as a lot of new vendors who want to join as well. So that's why we want to close down Forsyth Street. So the application is to close down the Forsyth Street between Canal and Division Street. As I mentioned, the night market will run 4 times over the course of the summer on Friday nights between 8 to 11 p.m. Forsyth Street is a one-way street, so the closure will be placed on Canal Street. Probably no need to put a barricade at Division Street corner, since if the cars don't enter at Canal, then there won't be a car on Forsyth Street. We have a egress route that you can see, which is like in the dotted area. That dotted area is for emergency vehicles, as well as for our neighbors who are a parking lot and auto repair shop, to have cars be able to leave without, disturbing their operation too much. It'll also allow for locally parked cars to leave. And we're working with NYPD to provide barricades for pedestrian safety and to control circulation. So in the process of doing community outreach, after multiple rounds of in-language outreach, we got over 2/3 of residents on the block to sign on. All of the storefronts that are on the street level signed on. We went above and beyond and even went to all of the businesses that were on the upper levels, saying second floor, third floor, etc. All of those businesses, except for one, signed on. We then reached out to all the community organizations on the block. This includes 2 family associations, 1 senior center, and 1 church. All of those people signed on as well. So to pretty much sum it up, we're looking forward to growing this beloved community event with you guys. We also hope that this presentation brings the much needed upgrades for lighting and safety in the public space. And thank you so much for your time and consideration. I'm open to questions if you guys have any.
Thank you. Susan, I saw your hand in.
Yeah, it seems like we made a mistake in the office. So we actually only ask people to come to us the first time, and after that, we administratively approve it. And it sounds like you've already been doing this, but I don't remember you ever coming to the board. Maybe it was one of those COVID things.
They hadn't closed the street previously.
Yeah, we did a community board meeting last year, but it was for, I think, something else, or like for a different permit.
Okay,
This is our first time doing the single block festival permit.
so you will not need to come back the other times this summer. It's just the one time.
Nice. Thank you.
So committee, are there any questions, things that you would like to, committee, if the committee members doesn't have clarifying questions or concerns that they might want to discuss, are there any attendees who want to express a concern?
I don't see any hands.
Yeah, I don't see any either. So, I see a show of hands, whether the committee members approve of it. If they do, then we'll draft a quick motion to that effect.
Danielle has her hand up.
Okay, my hand is up if I can find it. I would like to just assume, yeah.
I think they're voting.
Got it. So here we're gonna do. Well, I just wanted to make sure before I, Wendy, we need to draft a motion here. It can be very brief. U3 approves of the Chinatown Night Market on Forsyth Street. This is the road under the, we don't need to say that. We do need to say that the street will be blocked from, and what are the times for that, Alice?
So we're thinking 4 p.m. starting at 4 p.m. so that we have our production team has a chance to put together all the
Sure.
electricity needs and tables.
Or until?
Oh, until the end of the event?
No,
Or,
you-
I think we should be done by 2 a.m.
What
taking
did-
down everything.
what does your application say, the application at SAPO?
So the application is until 12 midnight, but of
Oh, so
course
then-
we need time to take down stuff. So
It has to be the same. You have a breakdown time on your application. We can only approve what the application times are.
then 12 a.m. because that's what the application said.
So 4 p.m. until 12 a.m. on June 2nd.
I think 11:59 June 2nd because 12 a.m. is June 3rd.
Oh, is it? Okay, till midnight.
Yeah, till midnight.
The board knows what they're voting on. There's a website where can we get a roll call vote on that real quick?
Should you go last?
Please.
Okay. Wendy Lee, yes. Lee Berman,
Yes.
Kenya Hernandez,
Yes.
Michelle Cooper
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Richard Ropia, Richard,
He was going to drop off the meeting. I think he may just have done that.
don't see him online. July Yang, July Yang,
She's there but muted.
I saw her just flip her hand a moment ago. So she's at the screen.
I can come back to her. David Crane,
Okay, that passes. So the next one is the
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alice. The FC block party. Now I had heard, well, first, are they present?
Yeah, that's Emma.
Okay.
She's a panelist, yeah. And we also, I don't think we have the petitions. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Is Sapo here as well? So do we get clarity on that? Emma, why don't you explain the application?
You have to unmute. Here, I'll ask her.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, guys. How are you? I am not the applicant. I am the person who lives on the street.
Oh, so is the applicant here? I thought you're.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I came to find out what their plans were.
Oh, so if the applicant is not here, which they may not be because it's currently in a state of denial, then we would vote for deny due to non-appearance.
And
I just want to be on the record that I was not voting against it. I'm not voting for it, or I mean, I know I don't get a vote,
Fine.
but I don't want anybody coming back like I put the kibosh on this.
Right, no, we're not really sure what, but the street activity permit office had said that it's in denial. I'm not sure exactly what that meant, but.
Okay, I just came to find out what their plans were.
No,
Okay.
it's okay.
We need to
Thank you.
pass a resolution that there's two of them, so why don't we just do both of them? Because I do not think that the birthday carnival is here either for June 10th. Susan, we had mentioned moving everyone in.
Yeah, I can start doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, for street coning. So we'll find out if they are there and just are blocked for speaking.
It's going to take a while. There's a lot of people, but if anyone's here, they should.
All right, we can modify it after. Well, I don't think they're able to, if they're on a concern. Listen, we have two here where the applicant is not present. So let's pass identical motions that we deny the block party for Wendy for the, organization on date June 10th at the location. And then one is Gouverneur between Madison and Water, and the other is the FC block party on May 27th, and division between Orchard and Canal. So we'll have two motions. And we can vote on this now. If the FC is actually here, we'll just modify it in a minute. I don't believe they are.
I don't believe they are.
Wendy, you want to take that vote?
I'm trying to promote everybody.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, the motion needs to have the words at the end, due to non-appearance.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Got it.
Gotcha. Wendy Lee, yes. Lee Berman,
Yes.
oh, my connection is not good today.
That was a yes for Lee Berman.
Okay, great. Thank you. Kenya Hernandez,
Yes.
Michelle Coopersmith,
Yes.
David Lilly, I don't see him. Richard Ropiak, July Yang, July Yang.
She must have left.
Okay, and David Crane.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
So if I could just say, I've been trying to promote everybody, but you have to accept it, and I'll keep trying, but
Okay, so everyone, we've tried to promote you so that you can just be here and see each other. We're about to discuss the Francis Golden Way corner co-naming. But please don't speak out of turn. I'll ask you to raise your hands in a bit. But right now, I believe we have a presentation. I mean, it may not be the
yeah, I think Lisa.
share the screen presentation, but I think that Lisa, can you present to us what?
Yeah, I'm going to start. I was hoping if Tito Delgado and Willie Arroyo were going to make brief statements too. But we come before you tonight to ask for your support to recognize the exceptional contribution of probably the most extraordinary person I have ever known. By erecting a sign and naming the northeast corner of East 4th Street and the Bowery as Francis Golden Way. I'm one of 8 people, including her daughter Rini, here tonight because we recognize how dedicated Fran was to creating a more just community and a society at large. Some of you may have known or heard of her, as she did serve on Community Board 3 for several years. She was one of the key founders of the Cooper Square Committee, and she fought like you know what for half a century against the racist forces that kept Seward Park Urban Renewal Area, which is now Essex Crossing, from being developed.
I'm listening to Lisa right now.
She was my mentor who inspired me in my
Yes.
community work in this community.
Second, Lisa, 1 second.
Yes, I see.
William Modavar,
Tito-
could you
Yeah.
please?
Tito and Willie, wait just a minute before speaking because everybody can hear you and it's overriding the intro. She was my mentor who inspired me in my work in this community, and I'm just one of many, many people who learned from her commitment to housing and all other forms of social justice. 2 of these people, one of whom lives on the block of East 4th Street that'll be codenamed, will also speak to her incredible accomplishments tonight. We have collected approximately 330 signatures from 4th Street between 2nd Avenue and the Bowery and the east side of Bowery to East 5th Street in support of this co-naming. These signatures demonstrate that the people living and working immediately adjacent to that sign recognize the invaluable contribution Fran made to ensuring that their homes and workplaces will remain permanently affordable. I sincerely hope that CB3 will support Francis Golden Way. And I'd like to recognize Tito Delgado, another former member of CB3, and after that, Willie Arroyo, to say a few words.
Should I start?
Yeah, Tito, go ahead.
Oh, hi. My name is Tito Delgado. I was born and raised on the Lower East Side. I've been a victim of gentrification and displacement, and also Francis taught me how to fight back against this. And for the last 45 years or so, that's what I've been doing, thanks to Francis. Francis not only saved the 4th Street and 5th Street blocks, she also was responsible in many ways. Oh, I'm sorry, what's that mean?
I was trying to promote you to panelist so we could see you. Okay, we should be able to see you now. But we lost him.
Unmute yourself, Tito. You're muted now. Do you know, can you do that?
I apologize. I don't know, people might not be aware, but I'm legally blind. So this technology is a little difficult for me. Anyway, I was saying that I grew up on the Lower East Side, and due to gentrification and other forces, I really was pushed out. But I've maintained my ties with the Lower East Side and been fighting against landlord abuse for many, many years. Thanks to Francis. Francis not only saved the buildings of 4th Street and 5th Street for low-income people, but she also was instrumental in fighting to get 500 units of affordable housing at Essex Crossing, besides the many, many other fights. So I urge you to please help us get this sign put up, because I really believe we have to honor our warriors. Thank you. I can't hear anybody.
Willie, you're next. Do you want to say a
Yes.
few words?
Good evening, everyone. And my blessings to you all. And I hope you don't keep this blessing to yourself. Please pass it on. My dear friend, Francis Golden, I miss her a lot. If it hadn't been for Francis Golden, I would not be part of this community. I could not be able to afford to live in the city of New York, period, the way the rents are skyrocketing. This woman was a champion for social justice. And long after I'm gone, and hopefully people will see the name of Frances Golding on East 4th Street between Second Avenue and the Bowery, they will have an inquisition to find out who was this woman? What did she do for our community? She was a champion of social justice. If it hadn't been for her, many of us would not be here today because they wanted to connect the West Side Highway to the East River crossings, and many families thousands of families would have been displaced from our community. This is a very integrated community. Everybody knows each other. We have good security on this block. And the only thing that I can really say from the bottom of my heart, please name 4th Street between Second Avenue and the Bowery the Frances Golden Way. Bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. So are there board members who have clarifying questions? Let's not do debate yet. I don't see any hands going up. Are there anyone from the public who wants to speak? I don't see any additional people from the public. Well, so kicking off debate, I'm just going to say I knew Frances Golden and thought she was amazing. I didn't know half, not even half. I didn't know almost anything that we're going to see in the resolution, assuming that we bring up the draft resolution. So let's just say I'm amazed all over again.
She was amazing.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, she was an amazing presence for sure, but the history is what I didn't know. Okay.
If I may add, please, there is a documentary called The Rabble Rousers, and I suggest that each and every one of us who might have the opportunity to find out more about this wonderful woman, what she was all about. Not only was she talking about New York City, the Lower East Side in general, but she also talked about her own personal life, which is amazing. I love this woman.
It's going to be shown at University Settlement on May 31st. So you can go to the University Settlement website and RSVP to be invited. It's an amazing, amazing movie.
Wendy, are you able to share screen to show the draft resolution? I believe you received an email earlier today.
Yes, I did get it,
I could share it if you don't have it handy.
but I cannot screen share.
Can I be made able to screen share, Susan?
I'll make you both.
Need to
Okay,
find-
David, you can do it now, and I'll do Wendy also. Whoops.
Oh,
What did I do? I lost Wendy. Are you there, Wendy? I think I might have kicked her out.
No, I got muted.
Oh, okay.
I was reading it just earlier, and now I'm trying to find where I had it.
I have it if you wanted me to put it on my screen and you wanted to promote me.
You want to give her that capability? That's the fastest. If you
I've
have-
done that. Okay, you're promoted.
So if you just
A little bigger.
make the
Oh,
window
good point.
narrower.
Yeah.
Make the window narrower and then make the font a little bigger.
Yeah, good. Now I have to figure out how to do that. That's a good question.
Or dragging the edges of the window a bit first to make it narrower so that it feels top to bottom. Well, just to increase Control Plus or Command Plus if you're on a Mac.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, this is great. It went back. Just do it again.
Let me try the, I'm sorry.
You know what? I was able to pull the page out to make it bigger.
Oh, you were able to?
Yeah, you can do it on your own screen. Just drag the page to make it bigger.
I think I can screen share now. Should I try it?
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe.
go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Not figuring, oh, I see what to do. Wait a minute. There, I got it.
Now we got it.
Oh, so maybe when.
Yeah,
there's
we both got
okay.
it.
All right. All right, I can read that. I'm just going to read it from the top. It's a page and a half, but anyway, let me read it so that everyone knows what it is. Whereas Francis Golden, well, first of all, this is an approval motion. Do we have a motion to adopt it? Then I can read it and then we can potentially modify it.
I move to adopt it. Motion to
I'll
adopt.
second it. I second. Here we go. Whereas Francis Golden was an inspirational advocate for community empowerment and urban justice who worked tirelessly for more than half a century for equal rights and fair housing, leading many historical struggles on the Lower East Side and beyond. Whereas Francis Golden was a lifelong New Yorker who moved to the Lower East Side in the 1940s and immediately began protecting vulnerable families from eviction from their tenement housing. In those early days, she worked closely with the Metropolitan Council on housing, a tenants' rights organization still active today. Whereas Francis Golden was then so well respected as a community organizer in 1950, she was recruited to run for the New York State Senate on the American Labor Party and garnered more votes than W.E.B. Du Bois, who was also on that ticket. Whereas Francis Golden rebelled against the plan of Robert Moses to create the Cross Manhattan Expressway and to condemn all of the housing between 2nd Avenue and the Bowery from 9th Street to Delancey as part of a slum clearance and urban renewal plan. In 1959, she formed the Cooper Square Committee to ensure that the thousands of diverse families living there would be the beneficiaries, not the victims of the plan. Whereas because of Francis Golden's efforts, after decades of struggle, Cooper Square has now succeeded in creating a nationally recognized tenant-controlled housing association on East 3rd and 4th Streets, including more than 400 units of renovated cooperative tenant buildings, originally acquired by the city for this urban renewal plan. Whereas Francis Golden was also a leader of the struggle for equitable and affordable redevelopment of the Seward Park urban renewal area, another Moses slum clearance plan for Delancey to Grand Street between Essex and Willett Street. She founded the Lower East Side Joint Planning Council, which fought the power elite of this neighborhood, which stood in the way of its redevelopment for more than 50 years, until CB3 and others succeeded in reaching the compromise plan of Essex Crossing. Today, a 99-unit low-income building for senior citizens has been named in her honor there, Francis Golden's houses at 175 Delancey Street. Whereas Francis Golden did not limit her activism to issues of the Lower East Side, she was a renowned advocate for progressive causes of all kinds. Beginning in the 1970s, Francis, we should spell that out, appeared at the New York City Gay Pride March with a lovingly lettered sign that said, "I adore my lesbian daughters, keep them safe," and was honored in 2017 on the lead float in the annual parade. Whereas Francis Golden was featured in a 2011 Wall Street Journal article covering the Occupy Wall Street demonstration, where she was described asking an NYPD police officer why she too wasn't getting arrested and with others blocking the street. And the officer responded that he was afraid of the bad press he would attract if he arrested a purple-haired octogenarian. Whereas Francis Golden's commitment and longevity was demonstrations at the Women's March after Donald Trump's election. Oh, there's a verb missing there or something. After Donald Trump's election, when she called out a unique chant as she moved through the streets in her wheelchair, 92 and coming through. That sounds like her. Right. Whereas Francis Golden, on the issue of criminal justice, fought publicly and strenuously against the imprisonment and death of Mumia Abu-Jamal, serving as his literary agent, fundraiser for his defense, and regular visitor on death row. Scroll a little bit more for me. Whereas Francis Golden, in addition to her exceptional work as a community organizer and justice seeker, was somehow able to establish a career as the illustrious and nationally recognized literary agent. With no more than a high school education, she worked her way up in the publishing world. In 1977, she established the Francis Golden Literary Agency, which she blazingly advertised in trade publications saying, "I do not market any material that is sexist, racist, homophobic, or gratuitously violent." Her clients included Pulitzer Prize winning Barbara Kinsolver, Adrienne Rich, Dorothy Allison, Susan Brown Miller, I think those are two names, Martin Duberman, Juan Gonzalez, Robert Mayerapol, Francis Fox Piven, and historian Mike Wallace. Whereas the proposed sign for the corner of East 4th Street in the Bowery for Francis Golden will stand as an enduring honor to the trailblazing community organizing of this inspirational, caring, and fearless advocate who successfully battled to create hundreds of permanently affordable housing units on that very block, as well as many more throughout the Lower East Side. Whereas a petition for co-naming the northeast corner of Bowery and East 4th Street, Francis Golden Way, garnered enthusiastic support with over 300 signatures from residents and people affiliated with the arts organizations, community organizations, and businesses on that block of East 4th Street and North 5th Street on the east side of the Bowery. Therefore, be it resolved, Community Board 3 supports a Francis Golden Way sign on the northeast corner of Bowery and East 4th Street. So there was the paragraph with a bunch of squiggling underlines that had a couple corrections to make.
If you want me to,
Sure.
I can make those corrections and send it back to you.
Okay.
Unless-
Well, this one here, it's the renowned needs to have a W instead of a, there's one misspelling, Lisa. I don't know how. I couldn't think of a whole document with just one misspelling, but I think there's just one.
No, I read it 4 times, so I am embarrassed that there are so many mistakes.
And then there was one where it didn't parse. There was a, and
Yeah.
if you noted what that one was. if you- listen.
Yeah, there were a couple, I think. Yeah,
There were-
I'll deal.
All right. Okay, you can send it if you send it to us tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure
then those are minor corrections. Board members, is there discussion or other changes? Well, debate. Okay. If there are going to be no more changes, then we can go to a vote. So are we ready to vote? All right, Wendy, let's take a vote, please.
Wendy Lee, yes. Lee Berman,
Yes.
Kenya Hernandez,
Yes.
Kenya Hernandez. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Michelle Cooper Smith, Michelle Cooper Smith, David Lilly, Richard Ropiak,
He's left.
July Yang, July, David Crane,
Yes. Do we have 5 present and voting here tonight on that? If we lost a couple of people, we may have lost.
I couldn't hear Michelle, but I think that might be, I think it might be my internet.
No, I didn't see her.
I
on-
didn't either. No,
She's, her computer's still in the meeting. How many votes were there?
Four.
That's not quorum. That's not a problem. That does mean though that you should wrote no quorum present, and then I will have to have someone move this from the floor. It's pretty simple. I'll reach out to someone. Well, who wants to volunteer to do it? I'll send you an email with instructions.
Okay, just make a note saying no quorum, so.
Yeah,
no-
put that into the minutes, but what board
Okay.
member wants to move this from the floor? At the meeting, full board meeting, unless
I'll
Michelle,
move it.
you will. Thanks, Kenyelle. Just say, Since there was no quorum present, I move that we adopt the Francis Golden Way co-naming that was
Right now?
no. Do this at the full board
Wait,
meeting.
Michelle's back.
It's got her hand up.
Got it. Okay.
Maybe Michelle is not able
Yeah,
to.
I'll vote yes for this. Sorry, I walked away to go to the bathroom.
Good. We have
Yay.
a quorum. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
So I'm gonna go to the next agenda item. So by the way, that's passed at the committee. That will go to the full board. Presumably that would pass. That's what always happens with these things. But be prepared to speak at the full board. You know, you can have 4 members speak for 2 minutes, a mini presentation about why this is important. That, you know, Lisa, you're not mad at this. And then we'll vote at the full board. And then after that, you have to go to the city council to get it into the next round of, you know, the legislation. Cool.
They don't do that.
You know what, Susan?
They don't do that. The council office will do that.
Well, correct, but you should reach out to the council office.
They're on this call.
Okay, got it.
They are on this call, Susan?
Katie just joined.
Do we have an update on when they expect, hi Katie, when they
Hi.
expect the co-namings of streets to be on the city council agenda for a vote?
It's
We have an internal deadline at the end of this month, but after that, it has to go through the Office of General Counsel vetting, and that can sometimes take a little bit of time. So they usually do 2 rounds a year, and so we're hoping in the fall.
Oh, really? Not till the fall? Okay.
That's my guess. But we'll be sure to keep you updated, Lisa.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I know you put a lot of work in this, so we really appreciate it.
We care a lot, all of us on this call for this. She was extraordinary human being.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. There's one more agenda item. And that is Owl Bus. It's an intercity bus stop application. Yeah, it's on East Broadway. It's near Seward Park. It's around.
So
Susan Pike. Stay here.
Is there anyone here for the bus?
Yes. Hey, good evening. My name is Lee. I'm here for the All Bus Inc.
Thank you. So this application is, as I said, I had a map up so I can look at it. Here we go. Right. Actually, I think I can share this so y'all be able to see the map. Oh. Yes, I have a share screen button. But is that it? I believe it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how clear this is. I hate this program. Brr. This is the location right there. If people aren't familiar with it, it's actually there had been an applicant there. There had been a bus operating there. They're no longer in business, so they're repurposing an old stop, and so it's basically right above the words Rice Noodle. And the application is for. Where is that? Here it is. To get the facts on the screen, I'm gonna change to share. Wow, I'm really challenged today. What have I done? Usually Someone changed Zoom on me again.
What do you mean?
I mean, I can't figure out how to share now. I want to share a different window, and usually there's a button that says share this instead.
You're sharing the resolution right now.
I am. Well, then that's good. That's what I was trying to do. Thank you. If I can find my way back to it. Okay, so the facts of it then are, I'm gonna make the font a little bigger. Albus, they are looking for doing pickups 5 daily and then 5 arrivals. They're spread throughout the day roughly. It used to be High Bus. They're no longer in operation. The applicant had indicated that they would I believe that they said that they would adopt all of our standard stipulations on this. And Lee, what do you have then?
Yes. Yeah. Just add to it. The High Bus Inc. Was operated and owned by my uncle, who passed away 2 years ago due to COVID. And another bus company was shut down. Not like shut down, like bankrupt because of the COVID. And I'm fortunate enough to survive. And hopefully that we can stimulate the economy, like for the New York City and other cities. And we hope that we can get that the parking, the loading and unloading, so it's safe for the passengers and more efficient for us.
All right, Lee Berman.
Hi, thank you. 2 questions. One, I'm a little confused. Is it 5 pickups total daily, or is it 5, or is there going to be an 8 o'clock bus, for example, from Wilmington, an 8 o'clock bus from Maryland, Virginia, and Albany? In other words, are there 20 buses coming in per day and 20 leaving per day? Could you clarify the number of buses coming in and exiting?
Yes, it'll be 5 pickups and then 5 drops only, 5 drop offs only. So the 8 o'clock will be going to like Wilmington, and then the 10 o'clock will be like the one like go to Albany, and then the drop off is the same. Like they might come from different city, but it will be drop off around like 2:30 a.m., 11 a.m. So total will be 5 pickups and 5 drop offs
per day.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Then my only other question is, David, and if there's anybody from DOT, I believe this is right in front of Wild Gus, the locksmith, and the bakery. I know that how will this affect them? And have they been asked for any input? Do they get any input? If in fact buses have been, whether this other company, High Bus or others, have picked up or loaded from there in the past with no ill effect, then I have little to no issue. But I am wondering how this will affect, if at all, specifically during the day, the ability for those businesses to either get things delivered or for customers to stop in or to stop momentarily. Thank you.
Yes. So I know there's a lot of retail stores around the area. Like they have a USPS, the bakeries, restaurants. By having the bus pick up and drop off at the location from the past couple years, we actually have our passengers is like customers for the retail store around the neighborhood, and we never have issues with the bakery, the restaurant, and the retailers around the area.
I'm specifically talking, well, that's good to hear about the bakery. My major concern is for Wild Gus Locksmith, who's open from, I believe, 8 o'clock at least until at least 5 o'clock. And they have commercial trucks coming in to pick up merchandise from there. And I just don't want there to be any sort of conflict there. So again, I would question DOT as to what, if any, outreach they perform regarding local businesses that are directly in front of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if DOT is on, but they don't do outreach to the businesses for this type of thing. They look at at what they believe is really the capacity at the curb. Michelle?
Thanks, David. So I have a question because it says in your application that customers will be able to wait at 152 East Broadway, which is a storefront, but you're picking up at 160 East Broadway. Is that accurate? So it's like a full, 4 or 5 storefronts apart?
Yes, we was originally apply around 150 East Broadway, but DOT approved 160 East Broadway, which is like 30 to 40 steps away, which
Yeah.
is very ideal for us.
Okay, I'm looking on Google Maps right now, and there is a bus that says that's registered to Owl Bus Inc. that stopped in front of 150. Is that the prior operator, your uncle's operations? This is from July 2022.
My previous my uncle was High Bus Inc.
Okay. So I guess my question is, are you already doing drop-offs and pickups here?
Yes, we were doing drop-offs and pickups, but we was at the same time was trying to apply for the drop-offs and the pickups.
So you're doing it without permission?
Yeah, cause I'm new to it, so I didn't know until I found out that I had to apply for the drop-off and pickups.
Okay, and then, I'll just say it, I cannot believe that DOT approved this here. It is an awful place for a bus pickup. I mean, the space between Ha's outdoor space and the trash can that's right across from it is like 4 feet wide. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to walk in the street at this particular juncture, and I cannot tell you how many times I've had to walk in the street because of the blockage of people on the sidewalk at 160 or 150, 152 East Broadway because of the existing bus pickups there. The sidewalk is already too narrow here. It is, it is awful for pedestrians already. That corner there is just awful, like for crossing the street, for waiting, for walking. It's miserable. I'll put it that way. And you can just look on Google Maps and see how dirty the sidewalk is there as well. Like that will not be better if we have more people. I put the link to Google Maps in the chat so you can see it. David, do we have, I feel like we're beating a dead horse here, but like, do we have any chance of getting DOT to deny this stop? We have someone who was operating illegally at the SLA level. That would be a great reason to get someone denied, right?
That doesn't work here. Typically the buses do legalize, but what we have sent comments like that, and we have said, please find another location. And we've had very mixed success. But if we were going to do it, we should explain pretty carefully why we feel that it is a bad location. And I can't really, I would be speculating if I said whether I thought this was a strong argument or not. I understand, but I can't. Susan.
He had to submit, I think, 3 locations. Maybe we could ask what the other locations were that he submitted.
Yes. One is right at the corner, like the Roger Street, around the city bus, and then the other location was like half block down on the East Broadway, near the USPS.
So do you think any of those would be better?
I think that
I'm asking the committee.
I think that farther down the block would be better. There aren't any, like 136 East Broadway is kind of the last, between 136 East Broadway and 126. The only thing is the USPS. And then the big problem I have with where the proposed location is, it's because it's right on the corner, which is just like always busier, right, than mid block. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts, but yeah.
Well, yeah, the closer to a crosswalk it is, the more, exactly the kinds of things you're describing or what happens. I wonder why they didn't do USPS. They never come to the meetings about these. They need a comment from us. There's a clock. So it's not like we can defer it without going past that clock. Well, I mean, what we have said in the past is like, we would prefer the location over there. Now, we didn't, it's not on the agenda with the USPS. So, I mean, that is an issue for us to consider here. If we just say not blindly, if we would say, with no opportunity for public input, we think that putting it, a couple 100 feet away in front of the US Postal Service would be better. They may not do it there because of USPS having pickups and deliveries, but don't they do it on the backside here? Their truck, doesn't it go through on Division?
Yeah, I mean, there's a truck
they-
loading zone sign right now. In front of
Post
136
office does park
Broadway.
some of their trucks
Yeah.
on East Broadway as well,
Yeah, okay.
in front of the post office.
So, but I'm speculating that that's why they rejected that location. Well, what we've often said is another location nearby. But and then and specifically call out why this exact address is not good. I would suggest that as an option, Michelle. Nearby, again, it's.
I mean, it's just so busy right there, and it's the subway is right there as well, like, which I understand is like good for connectivity, but it's just like there isn't enough space for the human beings that are there now. So.
Well, can we start drafting language then explaining that? And then I really don't know of a good ask, but we can definitely put a good whereas in right now.
Can I ask, David?
While you're
I'd like to ask.
Yep.
Along those lines, has the applicant looked at any of the stops on Allen Street or on Christie Street? Are any of those amenable to his business plan, assuming that there is space and that they are not all fully occupied? Is he aware of those locations that are currently used for stops like that?
Yes, we did also look at the Allen Street, Henry Street. One of the problem that we have like a office around 152 East Broadway, which have like the restroom waiting area. So if we choose Allen Street, which is like whole block down, will be like a delay for the customer that's waiting in the waiting area.
Okay.
And I will also say that Allen is full up with buses. I mean, those stops are, crazy. Sorry, you do have a storefront?
Yes, at 152 East Broadway.
East Broadway. That's quite close to the location. I can only speculate why they didn't put it right at 152. Emma, what do you have to say?
Hi. I had a handful of questions and a couple of comments about this license. As you guys, at least as David knows, I was well invested in the bus, intercity bus situation for a number of years. Everything quieted down for a while. I'm very concerned about how many licenses are being handed out alongside ones that are operating illegally in aggregate for the entire area. And when I attempt to look on the intercity bus permit site put out by the New York City government, it doesn't list how many pickups and drop-offs they have. It's very difficult to navigate. I tried downloading the information, putting it into a spreadsheet so I could manage it that way. I can't do it that way. So I think before bus licenses continue to be handed out, there has to be an understanding of what routes all these different buses are taking, how many pickups and drop-offs a day, so how many buses are coming into the immediate area throughout the day. And then those are my comments. One more thing about this particular situation was that, you know, the M9 makes the turn right around that corner. So having 10 buses a day when another bus is going to be coming around the corner is going to increase traffic issues. And then the questions I have is, does this operator have any previous violations? I think as I said before, what route do they plan to take? And will there be a bathroom and waiting area available for patrons? Thank you.
There is a storefront. It's at 152, so it's about 4 buildings away from 160. It's right there.
Is there a bathroom available there in a waiting area?
Yes, there's a bathroom in the back of the waiting area.
Okay.
Are you?
And it will be open. It will be open and available to patrons during all your pickups and drop-offs.
Yes, we open from 7 a.m. all the way to 10 p.m. The only drop off that we might miss is the 2:30 a.m. drop off, but we have all our buses have the restroom in the back.
Okay. Thank you.
Michelle, have you been thinking about how to describe that situation?
Yeah, I'm just trying to write something. Okay, let me put something. Here's one I'm thinking about.
Applicant.
David, I'm sorry, I could speculate as to why they may not have suggested directly in front of the post office. On the opposite side, on the South Street of East Broadway, there is MTJ, the school. So that might have been the concern.
Right. I wish that they just don't provide us. And Emma, I totally sympathize. There's no way to be able to see what buses are still in business. You know, when they add the site that I had last time I looked, they'll list that, oh, we did issue a license for so-and-so at that location, but they're not there anymore. So you can't even tell the number of operators at a site, let alone the number of buses. They're not, the DOT is not being helpful on those. So applicant,
yes.
You did this stipulation. Are you all able to see the stipulations right now?
Yes, I can.
Right in front, okay. So do you agree you do read all of them? These were check boxes, but I'm assuming you're not agreeing to none of them. All of these things are things you're going to operate with those tips?
I agree to all the boxes. It's just I forgot to check the boxes.
That's totally fine. Great. So there's nothing on here which is not possible for you to do. This is great. So Michelle, I think that we ought to add a whereas what you're saying, and then
I just dropped 2 potential clauses that we could add in the chat.
okay. I can't edit this document, but I believe that Wendy has a copy of it. Maybe not.
Who's the master for that draft?
Yes, I added Michelle's to the end of the whereas clauses. I'm gonna pull it up. Should I share my screen?
Yeah, take it away from me, please. Okay, whereas the northeast corner,
I
northwest
just
corner.
added Michelle's clauses to the end of the stipulations.
The northwest corner of Rutgers and East Broadway is dangerously congested due to very narrow sidewalks, forcing pedestrians to squeeze between sidewalks, sidewalk dining, trash cans, and streetlights directly adjacent to the proposed bus stop. And whereas adding bus patrons to this congested area who historically wait on the sidewalk for at least some period of time while disembarking and lighting the buses will make the corner even more dangerous for pedestrians and unpleasant for residents. Yeah. All right. So
So
Then we
should,
could
do you want me to make a
resolve-
motion?
Well, we already have, yeah, move it and then let's
Okay,
figure
I
out.
propose these two whereas clauses as amendments to the resolution. Does anyone second that?
Second,
Second.
Thank you.
There's no opposition, we'll just put them in there. Done. But therefore be it resolved, we need to recommend that they issue a permit. We could say at a different location. At location, you know, nearby. I really don't think that they should put it on Rutgers, though. That would be bad. Because of the, well, it's already a confusing enough intersection. Series of intersections right there, and there's other buses having activity. So nearby, but on East Broadway, on another location on East Broadway. We could do it that way.
do you want to have it like issue a permit?
We would recommend that they DOT issue a permit
To operate at a different stop?
Yeah. To operate their bus service at bus stop. So is this amenable to you, Michelle? I mean, we're about to start to issue it. Okay. And then where it says located at East Broadway, we could write. However, located near East Broadway, so instead of saying at.
I like that for a second. I'm so sorry. Could you
Rather
say that
than-
one more time?
In front of 160 East Broadway, change the at to a near.
Mhm.
Located near East 160 East Broadway. And then where you've got, however, let's say, but not at that exact location because of the sidewalk congestion problems. Right now, but the provided is, oh my goodness, it's part of the recommending that they issue it provided. We've already said near. Can you just highlight the whole but not at the next location because of the whole thing you just typed? Let's cut and paste it at the end. And then we'll make it a better sentence. Yeah, so cut it there and then paste it below. Okay. Right. Attached to the DOT permit. So end the sentence after permit. So put it, and then CB3 does not want the stop exactly at 160 Broadway. At that exact location, right? Because of that's good. And then and prefers a location, another location on that block of East Broadway. So what do people think about that? Okay, applicant, what do you want to say?
Yes, just wanna mention that 150 East Broadway, they used to have like a bus loading, pickup and loading right there. Which is not at the corner, should be a little bit like bigger space. Maybe we can consider around 150 East Broadway.
Is that where it was previously?
Yes, previously it was 150 East Broadway for my uncle, but I
Okay.
don't know why DOT give me 160
What-
East Broadway.
Now I'm going to speculate, but I bet that they wanted it at the corner because it in their minds, it doesn't, it's more efficient use of the sidewalk, more of the curbside, right? If they put it at 150, maybe they have 3 cars in front, maybe they only have 2, depending on how large the cars are and how densely they pack. The longer of a stretch of street side parking you have, the more efficient it is for the cars. I bet that's the reason. So we could propose that we don't put it at that exact location and prefer locating it at 150 East Broadway, where the previous bus had a permit, which was previously permitted for another bus company. Well, it's actually, we know the name of that company, which was previously permitted for Hi Bus Inc. This will probably work. I think that this is the strongest we can make it, Michelle. Lee, I mean, everybody who's here. And prefers another location at 150 East Broadway, which was previously permitted for another bus company.
At maybe? At.
Yeah, right, I think. For the Hi Bus Inc. instead of another bus company, or comma, Hi Bus Inc. Hi, H-I. Hello, Hi Bus Inc.
Right.
And this was what you had asked for as well, right, applicant? This is one of that you had requested?
Yes, around the East Broadway. Yeah, they just they didn't let me put exact the address. They just want me to choose between which block and which block.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting. Hi Bus is 2 words. Hi Bus Inc. Yeah, and capitalized bus. Is that good?
Yes, yes.
Is there any committee, is there any other modification to this? Or if there's no objection, then we'll adopt this as the amendment here. Are we ready to go to a full vote on the whole thing? Looks like it. All right, go ahead and do that roll call, please.
Okay. Wendy Lee, yes. Lee Berman,
No.
Kenya Hernandez,
No.
Kenya Hernandez,
I'm sorry, no.
Michelle Cooper Smith,
Okay.
I really wish we had something that we could do to stop these things. I know I'm not supposed to say this right now, but it drives me nuts. I'm gonna vote yes, but I just feel like we're between such a rock and a hard place with these buses, and I wish that DOT would take a stand and get sued and protect us, but I'll vote yes.
Thank you.
David Louie, Richard Lopia, July Yang. July Yang. And David Crane.
Yes. Was that a 3-2 vote?
So we have 3 yeses and 2 noes.
All right, so that did pass. So if there's no other business, we'll adjourn and we'll count that as the roll call. Okay, so don't run away. We have to roll call at the end. Okay, Samara Mar, have you?
Yeah, I just had a question. This is a separate sanitation issue. I just wondered if you guys had heard about this flood at the Campos Community Center.
We're dealing with that. It has nothing to do with this committee, though. You can talk to the office about that.
Okay, I'll call the office separately then. Thanks.
All right, go and do a roll call vote, and this we'll adjourn right after that.
Okay, David Crane,
Present.
Joshua Waterman, Wendy Lee, present. Lee Berman,
Present.
Kenya Hernandez,
Present.
thank you. Michelle Coopersmith,
Present.
David Louie. David Louie. Richard Ropiak. July Yang. July Yang. All right, thank you very much. That was all.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.